Bromo-Tengger-Semeru National Park represents a unique geological and sociological anomaly in Indonesia. More than just a tourist destination offering volcanic panoramas, this area is a world hub for the Tenggerese people who inhabit it. This video was created to present a comprehensive family travel narrative, not just as a logistical guide, but as a cultural expedition that uncovers the layers of meaning behind the Bromo landscape. The journey across the sea of sand in a Toyota Hardtop Jeep is not simply a transportation option, but a modern ritual that connects travelers to the pulse of the local economy. This video will delve into every element of the journey, from the physical sensation of crossing the ancient caldera to an anthropological study of the origins of the name Bromo, including the syncretism of Tenggerese Hinduism and the legend of Roro Anteng, which underpins the moral foundation of the local community. By integrating field data and literature reviews, this video aims to provide insights for those seeking to understand Bromo beyond its mere photographic object. The choice of entry route greatly determines the characteristics of a family trip. There are three main corridors, each offering a different experience. The first is the Semoro Lawang or Sukapura route from the city of Probolinggo. The second is the Wonokitri or Tosari route from the city of Pasuruan. The third is the Tumpang or Gubuklaka route from the city of Malang. For families with children, the Probolinggo or Pasuruan route is the safest option due to easier access to healthcare facilities and accommodations, compared to the Malang route, which traverses the longer national park wilderness. The journey in this video was via the Probolinggo route. Bromo tours generally begin early in the morning to catch the sunrise, a moment considered both aesthetically and spiritually sacred. To avoid rushing and enjoy the moment, we arrived at our hotel at 4 p.m. The journey would begin the next day around 2 a.m., allowing us to rest and relax. At exactly 2 a.m., our Jeep picked us up. This depends on your hotel. The further away, the earlier you should start. The journey begins when the temperature is at its lowest, often reaching 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. The thrill of riding in an old Jeep with its stiff leaf spring suspension provides a unique sense of adventure for children. The convoy of Jeep lights cutting through the darkness of the forest and fog creates a magical atmosphere, as if on a mass pilgrimage to the summit. And this is what often happens when you visit during a long holiday: traffic jams. Jeeps from local and international tourists from various countries fill the narrow forest roads, causing long traffic jams. There are several prime viewpoints for watching the sunrise. Choosing the right location is crucial for family comfort, especially to avoid excessive crowds. We chose the viewpoint closest to the mosque, where we could perform the morning prayer before starting our hike. This location is called Prow Hill. Prow Hill is a secret viewpoint for a comfortable view of Mount Bromo. With a peak of around 2,700 meters above sea level, this hill is the best alternative to Penanjakan for sunrise viewing at Bromo. This location is a favorite among foreign tourists, especially Chinese, compared to local tourists. We also liked it because it's more natural and less crowded than other locations.
Guys, we are now at Mount Bromo, East Java, Indonesia, waiting for the sunrise.
As the sun rose, the sky transformed from a deep purple to a fiery orange, illuminating the mist that enveloped the sea of sand, creating the illusion that the mountains were floating above the clouds. Unfortunately, we couldn't enjoy the beauty of Bromo any longer because its beauty was starting to be covered again by fog. Bringing a family to an extreme environment like Bromo requires careful preparation, especially for those unaccustomed to walking in cold weather. Early morning temperatures can be extreme for toddlers or the elderly. Bring a thick jacket, gloves, a warm hat, and socks. For family members who are less inclined to walk or dislike scenery, waiting at a food stall may be an option. There are actually many viewpoints in the Bromo area. You can choose one based on your departure point or your hotel stay. The most popular location is Penanjakan. This is the highest and most iconic vantage point. At 2,770 meters above sea level, the entire caldera is perfectly visible. The smoking Mount Bromo, the spiraling Mount Badak, and the majestic Mount Semeru in the background are clearly visible. It's located slightly above Prow Hill. Below Prow Hill is King Kong Hill. Its original name was Kedalu Hill, derived from Sanskrit, meaning hope for rain or referring to the god Indra. The renaming from King Kong to Kedalu is an effort to decolonize toponymy to honor the local agrarian wisdom of the Tengger people. Below King Kong Hill is Siruni Point, also known as Penanjakan 2. However, this point cannot be reached from King Kong Hill due to a different route. The view from here is also stunning, and there's a glass bridge. Access requires a low-cost entrance fee. Descending further down is Lima Bazaar, formerly known as Bukit Sinta. The name Lema Bazaar, meaning market land, refers to the local belief that this location is a marketplace for spirits or a spiritual meeting place. The name Lema Bazaar was reused to replace the narrative Bukit Sinta or Love Hill, which is merely a tourism gimmick. An alternative for those who don't want to climb too high or walk far is Post Dinklik. This spot is very friendly for the elderly and toddlers. Meanwhile, on the east side is Mentigan, a spot also not too high but comfortable. Let's return to our observation point at Prow Hill. People are starting to descend as the view is obscured by fog. Next, we'll descend by jeep to the base of the caldera we passed on our way out. We'll see the Bromo crater up close by climbing to its summit. But before we get there, let's stop by a food stall for some food and drinks while we wait for the traffic to clear. Besides standard fare, these stalls usually also offer Tenggerese specialties, reflecting their adaptation to the mountainous environment. These include nasi aran and wedang pokak. Nasi aran is a traditional staple food made from white corn. Nasi aran is believed to have a low glycemic index and provides a feeling of fullness for a longer period, perfect for fueling the climb. Wedang pokak is a warm herbal drink made from ginger, lemongrass, cloves, and other spices, very effective in combating the cold air of Bromo. Now it's time to head back to the jeep. After the jeep moved for a while, we came to a complete stop again due to traffic. The jeep's engine was turned off to save fuel and avoid CO poisoning. My wife and children slept, while I followed the driver to check out the situation. Why the traffic jam? According to our driver, besides the higher number of visitors, it was also due to a group of jeeps heading in the opposite direction from the majority of the jeeps heading down. These are usually late sleeping groups who weren't in time for the sunrise. So let's just enjoy the view. If you notice, the type of vehicle used here is the same jeeps. The Bromo regulation regarding vehicles prohibits private cars from entering the sea of sand. This applies starting with the entrance ticket we passed earlier this morning. Therefore, visitors are required to park their private cars and rent an official jeep. Finally, we managed to get through the traffic jam. After this, the jeep would descend the road to the base of the caldera. Jeeps are used to access key points like the Bromo crater, Sunrise Point, Whispering Sands, and Watangan Valley. The ideal capacity for a jeep is 5 to 6 passengers, including a driver, with strict regulations for safety and comfort. The varying condition of private vehicles and driver abilities are feared to increase the risk of accidents when navigating Bromo's extreme terrain. Renting a jeep is a solution. The first stop is usually Widodaren Valley. We are now at the base of Widodaren Hill. Widodaren means angel in Javanese and is believed to be the place where angels descend. Visually, the hill features a massive cliff wall with a dramatic water-streaked texture, contrasting with the black sand below. This is a tranquil spot for a family photo before entering the hustle and bustle of the crater. We won't be climbing Widodaren Hill, but will simply be admiring it from a distance. Let's continue our discussion about the jeeps we see milling about in this caldera. The visual identity of Mount Bromo tourism is inseparable from the presence of the Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40 series, locally known as the Hardtop. This phenomenon is not mere coincidence, but rather the result of historical adaptation and the needs of the extreme topography. The Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40 first entered Indonesia in the 1960s, driven by a visit by an Indonesian military delegation to Japan, who were impressed by the vehicle's toughness as a military operational vehicle. This vehicle was designed to rival the American Willys Jeep and British Land Rover. With its large displacement engine offering massive torque at low revs, a crucial feature for conquering steep climbs. In Indonesian popular culture of the 1980s and 1990s, this vehicle earned the unique nickname of kidnapper car or thug car. This nickname was born from the representation of the vehicle in soap operas and action films, where antagonists often use hardtops because of their masculine, intimidating image and ability to reach hard-to-reach hiding places. In Bromo, the hardtop has transformed from a symbol of antagonism into an economic backbone. The region boasts the largest operational population of Jeep hardtops in the world. For Tenggerese families, owning a Jeep is equivalent to a major capital investment. Although production of these vehicles ceased in 1984, their resale value in the Bromo area soars, often doubling the typical collector's market price, due to their potential as productive assets supporting large families. Jeep drivers are typically locals who have modified their vehicles with additional roll bars for passenger safety and off-road tires for gripping the loose volcanic sand. This use of Jeep services creates a closed economic cycle that empowers local communities, preventing significant economic leakage to outsiders. We've arrived at the foot of the Bromo crater. The Jeep will park in a designated area in the sandy caldera. From here, visitors have two options: walk approximately 2 kilometers or rent a horse. Renting a horse is not just a tourist attraction, but a form of direct economic support for the horse owners, the indigenous Tenggerese. These horses, often decorated with colorful ornaments, have long been part of the local transportation culture. For children, riding a horse across the volcanic desert is an unforgettable, heroic experience. At the time of this video, rental rates range from 100,000 to 200,000 rupiah, depending on the distance and negotiation skills. Before reaching the crater stairs, tourists will pass the Luhur Poten Temple. It is the center of the Yajna Kasada ritual. Its architecture consists of three mandala zones, Nista, Madhya, and Uttama. The temple stands alone amidst a stretch of sand, creating a sense of sacred isolation. Tourists are prohibited from climbing the temple walls or entering the main area, or Mandala Uttama, except for prayer. Menstruating women are strictly prohibited from approaching the sacred area, a rule highly respected by the local community. Although administratively categorized as Hindu, the Tenggerese religion has distinct characteristics from both Balinese and Indian Hinduism. Their beliefs are an evolution of the Majapahit era Shiva Buddhist religion, blended with ancestor worship and animism. They do not recognize a strict caste system like those in India or Bali. Their social structure is more egalitarian and based on community roles. The highest spiritual leader is the Pandita. This position is not simply inherited but requires a rigorous test of memorizing mantras performed in the Bromo crater during the Kasada ceremony. Regarding funeral ceremonies, the Tenggerese have traditions distinct from the Balinese cremation ritual. Tenggerese generally bury the dead. A purification ceremony is performed later in the day through the Entas and Tas ritual, in which a symbolic doll is burned to send the spirit to heaven. Now let's continue our journey to the crater. To view the crater, visitors must climb approximately 250 concrete steps. Before reaching the stairs, there are numerous street vendors selling food, drinks, and necessary equipment. They are usually fluent in foreign languages. I encountered several who were fluent in Chinese.
Yuk, let's go.
At the crater rim, visitors can directly observe volcanic activity, billowing sulfuric smoke, and the constant rumbling of magma. This is a great opportunity to teach children about the power of nature, but extreme caution is still required as the safety fence does not enclose the entire crater rim. This beautiful landscape began with an ancient mountain called Tengger. Ancient Mount Tengger is a giant volcano that now forms a giant caldera crater from which Mount Bromo and other mountains in the Bromo-Tengger-Semeru National Park formed. It was once the highest mountain, approximately 4,000 meters above sea level, before a catastrophic eruption between 200,000 and 40,000 years ago. This massive eruption caused the mountain's summit to collapse inward, forming a giant caldera known as the Tengger caldera. Measuring approximately 9 by 10 kilometers and 500 meters deep. At the base of this caldera, the new volcanic cones we know today. They are the children of this ancient eruption and are part of a unique volcanic complex. To understand the essence of Bromo, we will delve into the cultural layers of the Tenggerese people who have inhabited this area for centuries. The name Bromo is etymologically derived from the Sanskrit word Brahma, one of the primary deities in the Hindu Trimurti, who plays the role of the creator. This naming holds a profound spiritual paradox. An active volcano with the potential for destruction is named after the creator god. This reflects the Tenggerese's cyclical worldview, where volcanic eruptions are seen not as mere disasters, but as sources of soil fertility that enable agricultural life to continue. Destruction is a prerequisite for new creation. When discussing Tengger, we also need to understand the founding myth of the Tengger people, namely the love story of Roro Anteng and Joko Seger. Roro Anteng is believed to be the daughter of the king of Majapahit, who fled the palace due to the collapse of the kingdom. She met Joko Seger, the son of a powerful local Brahmin. The name of this tribe is derived from the ending of their name, Tengger. Tengger is taken from Roro Anteng's name and Ger from Joko Seger, which also means Tengering Budi Luhur, or having noble character. In legend, the couple was childless, so they meditated on the edge of a crater. The gods granted their prayers on the condition that their youngest child be sacrificed back into the crater. They eventually had 25 children. Their youngest child, named Raden Kusuma, was the most handsome and strong. When his parents broke their promise, unable to bear to sacrifice him, disaster struck. Kusuma ultimately sacrificed himself or was drawn by supernatural forces into the crater to save the village. His voice echoes from the crater, commanding his descendants to make offerings every year during the Kasada month. The Kasada ceremony is a tangible manifestation of the legend of Raden Kusuma. Every 14th day of Kasada, the 12th month in the Tengger calendar, thousands of villagers climb the crater carrying onkek, a shoulder pole loaded with crops, livestock, and money. These offerings are thrown into the crater, called labu, as a form of gratitude and the fulfillment of ancestral promises. Uniquely, on the inner crater wall, other villagers stand with nets to catch these offerings, called marit. This is not considered theft, but rather an attempt to gain blessings from the purified offerings. It's time to descend. My wife and daughter are waiting at the food stall. We return to the Jeep to continue the journey. I should inform you that Jeeps generally don't have dedicated car seats for children. Therefore, parents should hold on to their children tightly, as the road can be quite bumpy. Avoid overfeeding children right before getting on the Jeep to prevent motion sickness. Now we have arrived at the Watangan Valley. This place was previously popular as Teletubbies Hill. This area is a caldera covered in lush green vegetation, in contrast to the barren crater area. The name Watangan Valley has been restored to replace Teletubbies Hill. Watangan refers to the area's history as a place where watang trees once grew, emphasizing the area's ecological identity. This area is perfect for family picnics and letting children run around in the expansive grasslands. Unfortunately, when we arrived here, it was raining. Our journey will continue through the Whispering Sands. This location is named Whispering Sands primarily after the release of Gara Nugroho's 2001 film of the same name. However, the physical reference is to the sound of the wind blowing fine grains of sand, creating an acoustic whisper effect. Taking the family, especially children and the elderly, to an extreme environment like Bromo requires thorough preparation. Early morning temperatures can be extreme for toddlers. As mentioned earlier, you should bring a thick, layered jacket, gloves, a warm hat, and thick socks. Applying Telan oil or eucalyptus oil to your child's chest and back is highly recommended to maintain body warmth and prevent hypothermia. Second, consider respiratory protection. The volcanic ash and sand here are very fine. A medical mask or cloth mask is recommended, not only for health reasons but also to prevent respiratory irritation from dust and sulfur fumes. Tourists are strictly prohibited from picking Edelweiss flowers and Aphalis javanica, which grow wild in the mountains due to their protected status. As a solution, tourists can visit the Edelweiss Tourism Village in Wonokitri. Here, the Hulan Hying Farming Group legally cultivates Edelweiss. Tourists can purchase souvenirs from these cultivated flowers without damaging the environment, while also supporting the community's conservation economy. The zero waste principle is also implemented. Take your trash back with you, especially plastic and wet wipes, as Bromo's ecosystem is highly vulnerable to pollution by tourists. A family trip to Mount Bromo in a local Jeep is an expedition that goes beyond mere visual recreation. It combines a physical adventure through the cold and dust with a profound cultural lesson in human resilience. The Hardtop Jeep is more than just a means of transportation, but a symbol of brilliant economic adaptation. The route from Penanjakan to Watangan Valley is a living geological narrative. Furthermore, understanding the origins of the name Bromo, the legend of Raden Kusuma's sacrifice, and the religious practices of the Tenggerese people give soul to this vast landscape. For a family, this journey teaches the values, Paradantanjapoy, harmony between humans and nature, as well as respect for diverse traditions. For those who have never been here, a visit in person is certainly a different experience than simply watching a video. See you in the next video, and thanks for watching.